me.
Dad, I was wondering if I could interview you for a video on my channel, if you want. Maybe.
Well, I'd love to, Joe, but is it really going to be interesting enough?
Well, let's find out.
Yeah, I suppose that's the way to find out.
I think it is.
Yeah, I'm happy
Tell
to
people
tell
stories.
Yeah, well, why not?
Okay. Where do we begin, Dad? Suppose with a story, we should start from the beginning of the birthplace. I'll let you tell that part.
Well, the beginning, of course, as you know, but everyone else doesn't really know, was in South Africa. And it was in 1953, and I was a baby boom baby, post-war, and it was a place that my dad emigrated to South Africa in 1925. He was a pilot in the First War, and then he was a pilot in the Second War. And after the war, he met my mum, and they got married, of course, and they settled in South Africa. And I'm not sure that my mum took to it very well, because she's a sort of socialite, city party girl.
I have a couple friends like that.
Yeah, and but she did her best in South Africa. And my dad was also quite outspoken against the nationalists, the founders of apartheid, and he began to feel more and more uncomfortable about staying in South Africa with a young family, and decided that, because he was born in England, he could return to the UK.
Right. So he went back to England.
So he went back. I didn't like it. It was cold.
Yeah.
I found the people not very friendly.
Yeah, it's a different...
very
vibe.
different environment.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was sent to various schools because you have to go to school. Or that's how my parents perceived it. Anyway, they found it difficult to send me to school because I was quite a outspoken and rebellious and emotional child.
And you went to boarding school?
And I went to boarding school when I was 8. It was... anyway, I adjusted, and I went to another school when I was 13. That was in Norfolk, so it was 150 miles from home. The first school was only 3 miles from home, but I was still a boarder.
Right.
And so after school, the only thing I really found very enjoyable was flying. When I liked fishing and things like that.
Other hobbies.
Other outdoor hobbies in nature. Some of it quite solitary because I didn't fit in with the public school environment, so I did my best to escape from it. I managed to get by in terms of academic performance. So I got a flying scholarship with the RAF, and I learnt to fly, and
Freedom.
And I really, really loved the flying. I discovered fairly soon after I started the flying that I needed to wear glasses,
Right.
so I couldn't stay in that track of being in the RAF and being a pilot for them. So I looked at other ways of flying, and being a commercial pilot didn't really appeal to me. As my dad used to say, it's a bit like driving a bus. And I happened to agree with him. After not being able to fly because of my glasses, I looked at other things, and I took a sort of gap year or so and went off sailing to the Mediterranean, and that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and that developed an interest in sailing as well. But as a crew member, not as a captain or being in boss of the ship.
How long did it take?
I sailed from England to Greece,
Uh-huh.
and that took about, I think I was on the boat about 6 weeks, and that was fun. Lots of aspects of myself, and I thought I was pretty good on self-discipline, but it actually teaches you a lot more about how you are in a situation when you're on your own. And as a crew member, you would take the helm on a watch, and
What did you do after all the flying and the sailing?
Well, I decided
Researching.
partly because of family pressure, to get a proper job.
Yeah.
I decided I would go to university and study something. I wasn't motivated by any particular subject, other than I studied economics because I didn't know anything about it, and I thought it would be a good idea to understand something about it.
Right.
And one way of finding out is to go and do it at university. I liked some of it, but it was far too limiting. Not expanding education. It was more like a process of getting you through to get a degree and then get a job.
Yeah, the degree is never a guarantee.
No, it's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
I think partly because I'd had a gap year and I'd worked before I went to uni. I think that helped me get a job because I was more interested in the commercial aspects of going out and getting a job and earning some money. I started doing jobs after uni, but at the end of that period I started amateur acting and singing, and I really enjoyed that. I mean, when I was a teenager and younger, I really sang a lot. It wasn't particularly encouraged in the family to make a career of it. It was fun to do as a hobby, but it was never seen as something one could do otherwise. This nagging feeling of, why don't you do this more, came back to me. I went on an acting course, and part of the course involved singing, and my tutor said, you could actually do this on a much more, the singing on a much more bigger scale, and I took that to mean at a professional scale. Eventually, I twigged in 1987 that it would actually be better if I just gave up the job with the good salary and the car and all the perks that went with it, and followed my heart in performing. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, other than by that time I'd got a lot of experience in sales. I was good at getting business and things like that.
Yeah.
And I applied the same principles in this fledgling opera company.
Yeah.
And I was getting work. And I did this for about... Yeah, it was following a passion. And I really enjoyed it, and didn't make a lot of money, but I really enjoyed it.
That's the most...
I just had enough to get by on. And then after 4 years, I met Elaine, and she, well, we connected. Do you want to hear the story of how we connected? Or so Elaine came to a performance after she came to a full opera, and then she came to a concert performance.
Okay.
And this was fun because it was typical of what I'd started to do with this group of friends. We would sing between courses of a dinner, and it was a popular formula, and she really enjoyed it. And I discovered it was her birthday on the 17th of March, and I sent her a birthday card, and then she invited me to tea by the river near Maidstone, and 3 weeks later she moved into my house. So we sort of clicked,
Yeah.
And it was really fun. We were pretty well inseparable. We didn't stop talking. We were really connected. Applying that into the opera company, that energetic matrix, was very successful because we started performing in different places, and within a year we'd done a performance for the Prime Minister, and then we were invited to do another one, things like that. really helped open doors, and it was really fun. We had such fun. We were doing a lot of performances, and we were generally pretty well exhausted because we gave it everything. It was like a sort of eureka moment of following your passion, but following it, and this was sort of all different forces happening, meeting different people who await different bits of information. Anyway, to cut the story short, it was realizing that instead of being dominated by my thinking processes, I was dominated by my feeling processes, which came from how you feel in your heart. And this was such a magic formula, and I realized that that's the way I wanted to live my life. And also from the moment of starting the opera company in 1987, that also was a sort of eureka moment, because I gave up working for somebody else and I started working for myself and following my heart in that sense. Oh yeah, no, you didn't. You arrived with perfect timing. It was interesting in 1998, and that perfect timing had some resistance because you weren't very well when you arrived.
Yeah.
And we spent 10 days in the hospital. One of the things that my family liked to do was to travel, and it was almost in our nature to be travelers, to visit different countries. When I was involved with the opera company, I really wanted to travel with it. I wanted to take it to other countries to express the formula that we'd found for entertaining people and to get them to understand opera. We wanted to share it in countries abroad, and we were fortunate. We went to most of Europe. We went to the States, we went to Russia, China, Hong Kong, and Hong Kong on many occasions. And it was really a good, wonderful thing that we were given this opportunity to get paid for traveling to these exotic, wonderful places. I think many of us never stop searching. It's the nature of, human life to keep searching.
Keep exploring.
Because you've never fully arrived, I don't believe. Even if you've had some really wonderful, extraordinary, heart-centered feeling, passionate moments, and you've been living your life like that, then maybe there's always more. There's always another new experience to have.